Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. I am so delighted to have somebody from the Southern Hemisphere again on the podcast. I'd love to introduce you to Amanda Jeff, who is the founder of She is AI. So, Amanda, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So, first of all, I was introduced to you through Nicola. So, I wanted to start off by first asking, tell us who you are and what led you to create She is AI.
Well, that could take all day, but I will try and keep it really exciting and succinct. So,
Yeah.
who am I? Very briefly, for people that don't know me, I'm a sort of new mum from New Zealand, a long time career in marketing, business and comms, and I have a passion for kind of cutting edge evolution of technology and marketing and psychology and anything that is evolving how humans communicate and create community and market and all these things. And long story short, I was doing marketing consulting and not seeing a space where people were coming together in this lots of pockets of people being excited about AI individually or individuals coaching and training around the place. I wasn't seeing a lot of community. I wasn't seeing a lot of women. And I guess I wanted to create something that I wish existed, which was the platform and the community of She is AI to bring together mainly all the women in AI to
Mhm.
highlight their work and their voices, bring them all together, have everyone be able to be in one room virtually, so to speak, and all be excited and part of this AI revolution together. And I was seeing a lot of excitement. And so, I mean, in the spot, it just came to me one day, She is AI, and I just started sitting down at my computer and basically just channeling, just writing everything down and just making the business. And I just went full steam and got a few of the team that are on board now. And I just said, guys, who's in? Come with me, let's go, let's make this thing. And some people jumped on board, and look, 6 months later it has sped along like a rocket ship, and here we are, and it's evolved so fast, and one of those things that has just come together from an idea, and I just ran with it, and I was like, I know I'm going to take this ball and run with it,
So how,
and
how
here we
long?
go.
So is it a nonprofit or is it a for-profit organization? And how old is it?
Literally since mid last year, so not even a year old.
Okay.
When I talk to other investors and founder advisors over the last 6 months to get advice, they're basically like, some people take 4 years to get to this point that you've done in 4 months. What was it, the time? And they said, wow. And I was basically ready to launch, founder ready, all the documents, all the legals, all the financials, all the paperwork, everything set up completely. And they're like, wow, you've just launched a whole startup in 4 months, basically. But I was like, well, it's AI. So we can work faster. So there's a message in there that yes, it came to me and it was easy and I pulled together. B, I have all the experience that has culminated in bringing together something beautiful like this that I've had 20 years of a career to pull together and lean on. Three, an incredible team that has supported and helped me drive this the whole way. It has not just been me, it has been an
Mhm.
incredible team of supporters that have helped drive this, and we can talk about them. Three, AI that helps you accelerate everything and work faster. I'm not going to lie, it has opened up the ability to work faster. I can do a 40-hour job in less than 2 hours now,
Wow.
like frequently. So AI has kind of like allowed me to do the job of three people
Mhm.
in a part-time role. And so for anyone think, and on a very limited budget. So I think if anyone should not be held back by the concept of, oh, I can't launch, it's too hard, or it's too much money, you don't have time. I was like, you do, you can, because I did. Yeah.
That's amazing, and I think you're a great proof point on innovative, better, faster, and definitely cheaper at the same time. So better, faster, cheaper is a phrase that gets used in a lot of areas in marketing, as you know, but people don't put the word innovative, and I've started putting the word innovative ahead of all those three words because it does require you to think differently, and you're showing that in what you've shared so far already. So tell us what's the value prop for She is AI, and what is it actually that you offer?
Great. And oh yeah, and I'll touch on your other question. What is the company structure? So
Yeah. Go ahead.
value proposition is, in a nutshell, we're a global ecosystem that is helping highlight the voices of underrepresented people and women and youth in AI to give them a platform to be
Hmm.
heard and seen,
Hmm.
to educate them,
Hmm.
and to lift them up and make sure that everybody is on board the AI revolution, that we are providing accessible AI education and support to everyone globally. So we are at the very high level, starting from the top, a global organization first and foremost. We are evolving into a part for profit, part non-profit, to do social good and to give back. Also, we're for profit because got to make money. The
Hmm.
main business, it started out as a magazine last year. The Shares Eye magazine is where we started, and that is a special part of the business that is all about highlighting the work of women in AI. And that's
Hmm.
a special place that resonates with a lot of people already in the community. And it's a beautiful, it's a multimedia magazine. It is the only one in the world that we've found that includes video and art and thought leadership in one magazine, that is
Hmm.
cutting edge, interactive. It is online, flippable, interactive magazine that also has education, thought leadership, and beautiful art. So that's something that we treasure, that's really beautiful, and that's all pulled together by the editor, Rachel, and her beautiful graphic design. So that's where we started. It evolved into a community, which we run on school, which is where everyone can come and network and play and learn more about AI and run support calls and all sorts of things in there. And then we've evolved into running events. So we have regular masterclasses and summits, and we're leading up to a big conference next year. We're opening up new masterminds and trainings and courses. So that's going to fall under our academy arm,
Hmm.
where we're going to be having a roster of AI talent, including myself and the team, all running different offers, courses, classes, webinars, masterminds, and self-paced learning as well on our platform. So we're building that out at the moment, and we've already got some mini courses that we offer, and we're launching some more to market very soon. And the last arm of the business is the agency, where we're going into consulting, more like paid speaking, consulting to businesses. So we're 5 fundamental pillars of the business that everything falls under, and all in a paid capacity. So you can engage us as a business to say, I need your advice on AI. We'll come and consult. We'll build you something. We'll build you anything, because we have a large roster of a couple of hundred women in AI who are leading voices in AI. We're industry agnostic. We cover every area of AI. Some agencies focus on automation. We're industry agnostic. We're also passionate about our education arm. We are seeing about 90% of the world still needs AI education,
Hmm.
particularly.
Hmm.
So we are passionate about providing accessible, industry agnostic AI education to everybody globally. Um, and we do that by deploying a roster of incredible AI talent across those 2 business arms to
Hmm.
say, you call me, you go, I need help with XYZ. I go, I got that talent. Here they come. They come
Hmm.
and help you, support you, train you, consult, run a workshop. We've got, we can talk about our incredible network of partners. We've got over about 20 partners of institutions, organizations, and individuals globally who are partnering with us, that love our mission, and we're supporting each other to grow and amplify our work. We've got approaching 90 brand ambassadors. I mean, we're getting a new one every day. So that's why I'm not like we're up to nearly 90 brand ambassadors of individuals who are saying, love this mission. I'm in the boat. Let's go. Let's amplify this globally, right? And
Yeah.
in a whole roster of about 90 experts that we're publishing in the magazine. We've got a whole list of people doing courses and masterclasses, incredible raft of talent. So this is more like a collaborative community.
Hmm.
Our business ethos is built on collaborating with a group of like-minded people who are on a similar mission.
Hmm.
We all do have to make money, but we believe it can be accessible and it can be for good, and we can give back, um, and we can actually do good while we're doing it. Another special part of the business is actually AI Rising, our youth initiative. So we are really passionate about reaching youth, say 18 to 30,
Mhm.
and then we'll look at schools. Again, like younger pre-K and schools, there's a lot of work happening in there across the world and in the UN to actually open up AI training for young people. That
Mhm.
could be for school age kids to navigate AI as they grow and use it in school. Programs for teachers and parents to help them understand AI to help their kids navigate it. Because tell you what, they're all using it. 90% of young people are already using at least one AI tool in their daily life, and the parents, there's about 70% of adults need AI education, and
Mhm.
that's a huge gap of awareness and education. So we are working on filling some of that gap. A really exciting, and I'll stop after I say this last point, a really exciting part of our business is our partnership with the UN AI for Good, um,
Mhm.
AI Skills Coalition. So through that, our whole community has the opportunity to give back AI education and resources to the UN on their platform so that they can disseminate that globally to everybody that needs access
Amazing.
to AI education. So we're really proud to be partnering with organizations like them and others, and we've got networks of grassroots networks of people in AI around the world and emerging countries that we're going to give back and do workshops and support them and educate them and reach out. So is a just incredible ecosystem of things happening, and it does seem like a lot, and we can do a lot, and we are doing everything, and we don't fit in a box. And so we like to say we're a new paradigm company in the new paradigm of AI, and we are doing a new model and a lot of new things, and we're incredibly proud of that.
I I love the way you just ended this, your, what you just described, everything about your value prop, because I talk a lot about this with companies and people as well, which is that we should not be, uh, anchoring on the old way of doing things and trying to figure out how AI fits into the old way of doing things. We need to redefine the paradigm and create an AI native business model. And you're describing an AI native business model right now, right? And in fact, I would say, I, I I think I talk to a lot of people, but at least in the exposure that I've had, there are very few. There's a handful of companies I've come across that are what I would call AI native. You're one of them right now. And that's why when you said, "Oh, I've only been here since last year, and I've done so much in 4 months," I wasn't shocked at all. you know, so and I think that's a testimony to the way you're structured right now. That's incredible. So.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's
So,
incredible. Yeah.
you mentioned, in the very beginning of your description about the fact that, you started off as a magazine and you have an art designer. Tell us about the background of your screen.
Yes, well, that's a picture made by me. I also dabble in AI art. And that's something that at the moment we have an open call out for one of our ambassadors has created a song for Shares AI
Uh-huh.
that speaks to the mission of our company. And it's all about, it's called We Rewrite the Light. And all about the voices of women standing up and being part of the AI evolution, and that we can have another like women can open up a new chapter, refine themselves again, find their creativity again, do the job, be a mother and a businessman, and use AI to kind of have a new revolution. And it's also about every voice in the world, no matter where they are. um, we've got a community of people in very grassroots communities around the world. They still have
Mhm.
a mobile phone and a laptop, and they're having access to AI and tools, and they can create a new life for themselves.
Sure.
And that's one part of it. And so the next issue of our magazine and in our summit is all about the future of the world from a sustainability angle, how AI can be used for good, for improving, I don't know, everything from architecture to sustainability to the environment to built architecture kind of things, the environment, how AI ethics is going to come into play, how we make sure that it's equitable, how we
Mhm.
make sure that we go from only 2% of coloured women having a voice in this space to like 90%, instead
Mhm.
of like 90% of men and 5% woman. Like, how
Mhm.
about the other 95% of the woman? So we're trying to tackle that space, that white space that we're not seeing, and that incredible, um, like I just want to touch on like the moral responsibility at the moment we're seeing for women to step forward and take a role in training AI, in being part of shaping it
Hmm.
for the future while it is being built and evolving now. So this issue is all about that. And this picture I made is just an expression of a series I made to see the fusion of AI, nature, and tech and the feminine, and how that comes together and what it looks like when women lead the world. We carry the community, we're mothers, we carry the creation of community, we have the empathy, compassion. I'm generalizing, but in nature, women carry that aspect to us, and we want to make sure the future is humanity behind the
Hmm.
AI, that we don't lose ourselves in the tech, that we don't lose our empathy, that we don't lose our compassion, and we
Hmm.
have to carry that with us. So it's just that expression of that whole theme that's coming through in all our work at the moment, um, that we feel really strongly about. And we've got an incredible summit coming up with a range of amazing speakers. We'll be touching on all these topics and different aspects as well. So you can look forward to that coming out soon. But it'll be an incredible issue as well.
Wow, that's amazing. And I know the fact that you were able to tie in, like, three very large topics in a way, right? AI, gender, and sustainability, and you're kind of like, finding that intersection across all three. That's not a small task in any sort of, in any way at all, right? So that's a big undertaking. So what inspired you, like, to come down that path? Because that's truly incredible to think about all those three things at the same time.
I think how to answer that question. I mean, I'll speak for myself, but I believe that all the team is passionate about this.
Hmm.
I maybe look at something from such a how to say high level. When you look down on something, you see the fusion of things, how they come together. We're
Hmm.
looking at how we're moving forward as humanity.
Hmm.
I guess it is in my nature to not put things in little boxes and segregate them. We're at a time where we need to be more holistic. We need to bring together all of these aspects. If you're going to change humanity, you have to create change from a level where everything is not in separate boxes and there's no bureaucracy and there's no, like, I saw it, I didn't even think that, oh, these are three big things I'm trying to put together. I just thought, well, isn't it natural that all of humanity, all of these things are part of our life, and that we should explore them together? And the
Hmm.
fusion of it seems natural to me, and it's all part of our evolution. Like, AI is the biggest leap in our consciousness evolution of humanity ever, since
Hmm.
maybe we invented the wheel and then made sliced bread and then made factories and then made the internet and computers and then now AI, but like the biggest evolutions ever. So in this paradigm, does it not make sense that every human has the ability to rewrite how we work as humanity, how we collaborate, how we
Hmm.
move forward into the future? And I've spoken to lots of people, and a few of them are all saying, "Oh, look, we don't want to do the internet all over again." And some people owning this space, some people getting left behind, the absolute inequity that we still see, the lack, the disparity in the education and the have and have not. Like,
Hmm.
everyone is like, "Let's not do this anymore." We're seeing the environment get destroyed. We're seeing corporate greed has gone up and it's failing. And we need to rewrite how we are doing things. And I
Hmm.
don't know if that's directly your answer, but it just seems natural to me that we would explore all of this together. And I don't know how the rest of the team would answer that, but I just see this as a new era. And to
Hmm.
explore all these things together just seems like a natural, beautiful fusion to me.
Hmm.
Um, and we hope it just reaches people and that they can become part of it, to realize that we need their voices now.
Yeah, yeah, and it's funny you say that, because there are a couple of things that I think about and talk about also. My newsletter, for example, is called "In Search of Normal," and I've had that name stuck in my head for over a decade, right? Because I felt like, when I think about my personal life and my personal journey, I never knew what normal really meant, because my parents are of Indian origin. I grew up in the Middle East and I moved around all over the world, so I never had like a place where like, most people stay in one location or in one country for most of their lives. That wasn't me, right? So for me, normal was defined by where I was at that point in time. And then if you look at the last decade, for example, with all the changes that have happened, whether it's COVID or AI or anything else, everything's become convoluted now, and we don't know what normal really is. So I've always had this thing about, are we constantly searching for normal, and what is that? And I think the way you're describing it to me, you're kind of like starting to put some parameters around what is considered to be the new normal in a way. It's not defined in the past, it's being defined towards the future. And I think that's the big differentiating point in terms of how of how I'm interpreting what you're describing right now, if that makes any
Yeah,
sense.
it does. I like your takes. They're really awesome, and it's something that me and my how to say team and my real life partner, we're like a new paradigm. So it's a new
Mhm.
paradigm. We're creating a company for the new paradigm. So it's not going to follow any rules or boxes. And
Yeah.
if you've got to rewrite something, you've got to create something fresh. It's got to be fresh. It's got to be a fusion. It's got to be leading into the future. Like how did Apple break out of the box and be the leading company of the future? How did Ford create cars when everyone's still on horses?
Yep.
You've got to create a thing to lead the way, to
Hmm.
be, that's how I see it, but I almost think nothing of it when you're just doing it and you're passionate about it and you've got a vision of where
Hmm.
it's going in the future and you're just making it. Yeah, a lot of people say I go really fast and I talk fast. I was like, well, you've got to,
Because you have a lot
otherwise
to
this is
share,
just
right?
coming. You've got to work
So,
fast, but AI is fast. The new paradigm is fast,
yeah.
and it's yeah.
So as you've as you're scaling up your company, you talked about structure a couple of times. So I don't want to miss that point. How are you organized right now in terms of what you're trying to do? Because you talked about the five pillars and everything. I get that, but structurally, you said you have a team. So I'm guessing you don't have a huge team, or maybe I'm completely incorrect. So tell me how you're structured.
How we're structured is an incredible team of people who are working for the goodwill of getting this thing off the ground.
Yeah.
We have our co-founder Rachel Geyer, who's the chief creative visionary officer
Hmm.
and editor of the magazine. She brings the graphic design skill. We like to say that she is channeling the art from the group consciousness of our company and
Hmm.
creating an epic brand that speaks to our mission and what we're doing. So it looks stunning. If everyone goes to sheisai.ai, our website, you'll see that as the visual expression of our whole flavor of our company, right? And so she does everything visually and creative in the layout of the magazine and makes it look amazing.
Yeah.
So there's me and her. I'm currently operating as CEO and COO and founder and running everything because we're like startup, we're bootstrapping this thing. We're all just hustling and doing all the jobs at the moment. I've actually looped in my real life partner, who's a long-time entrepreneur, to support me in the role and bring his entrepreneurial experience in negotiations and global business expansion and things like that, and advice and negotiations and contracts and all the kind of business things you got to do.
Hmm.
We have Deanna Leonard, who is our USA lead and head of PR and comms. She has had a long, incredible career in America in that space, and so she's leading activities over there. Who else have we got? We've got a couple of other people. We've got Mike Parker, we've got Maribeth, we've got Nina. We've got a few people sort of in the team as like different backers and have supported us so
Hmm.
far along the way. We've got a couple of advisors. We've got Hope and Catherine. These are all very much long-time entrepreneurial people, all older than myself, and all bring incredible experience and
Hmm.
wisdom and knowledge and advice to this game. We've got Monica in Australia, who's an AI automation specialist. Oh my God, we've partnered with some incredible people. Katie Keane, who's a Canva partner. I don't want to leave anybody out. We've got so it's a very small team, just the direct small team, but again with the help of our partners and advisors and basically like helping us get this thing off the ground.
Hmm.
Um, and then it's very much we've got a larger group of partners and collaborators that are working with us,
Hmm.
like 15, 20 of them. I'd hate to not miss anybody out. And then a larger network of the brand ambassadors that I mentioned. So they're the ones
Mhm.
that help amplify our work and our mission globally. They're all beautiful mission-aligned people. They either just talk about our mission or go to events and talk about us, or we've sponsored some events for other companies and grassroots networks around the place.
Mhm.
We've partnered with a few AI networks globally of not just women's networks. There's a creative network. There's just groups of people that want to learn AI in different areas around the world. So we're partnering with them to see how can we help you and support you and get resources to you. And then obviously we've got the partnerships, more formal partnerships with businesses and organizations. So
Mhm.
our and then the hundreds of women that are our talent in our community will be then going out there and consulting, educating, doing courses, and there's a whole lot of things. So that's kind of the pools of people we've got at the moment. And then we've got another special group in our ecosystem that's the AI Advisory Council. So they are a leading group of experts in a working group, the equivalent of the UN's AI Skills Committee, that they selected a handful of people. The
Mhm.
objective being to feed in thought leadership and expertise in different areas of AI as a
Mhm.
working group to make sure that we are providing ethical, leading education and advice, and that we are at a level to be certified, that we're leading the way in our advice, that's best practice, so that when we go out and speak and create courses and create content and advise you, you know you are getting the best, because we have the best voices in AI from around the world, and we're really proud to be setting things up at that level and to be collaborating with so many incredible people in AI at that level. So we have yet to meet. I'll challenge anyone, if they've got a larger network of talent in
Mhm.
AI,
Mhm.
tell me. But over the last 6 months, we've built an incredibly large community and roster of AI talent that we're proud to say we can deploy globally
Mhm.
across pretty much every area of AI. Um,
That's
so
amazing.
all of this will be rolling out more physically, but we obviously wanted to do the foundations and make sure that this is really a leading kind of collective that
Yeah.
we're presenting.
So as you've gone through this process, where have you found the most traction in terms of countries? Is it, um, is it like a top five list or top 10 list already that you have, or just give us a sense of where you've got the most traction, and where would you like to be more engaged with in terms of countries at a high level?
Yeah, good question. So to be honest, we know that where the talent is coming from, when I say talent, please use it respectively, like how to say AI expert, but we're not calling them experts because who is an
Yeah.
expert? So I say the AI talent, the professionals are mostly in America,
Hmm.
and we're trying to tap into the Chinese market just because it has the most coverage of AI so far.
Hmm.
We can see the opportunity to then deploy these people across the rest of the world where coverage is more spotty, let's put it
Hmm.
that way. In all the countries we've spoken to, we've got about people from about 27 countries in our network and counting, right? So we pretty much have spoken to like a couple hundred people in the last 6 months, and everyone I ask them like where they're from, how it is in AI in their country and what it's like. The UK is up there, but it's a really mixed bag. Like they're kind of more about worried about the risk and the governance and the policy, and they're kind of all dipping a toe in, but the corporate's like, oh, not going there yet, and how do we put the guardrails in place before we try anything? And
Hmm.
there's a few AI innovators over there doing really amazing things in our network, and they're on the leading edge. But
Hmm.
again, the rest of the uptake in the general community kind of a little bit more spotty, but they're more cautious. New Zealand and Australia, we saw an official list that we're about number 35 out of 35
Hmm.
countries on AI adoption. So um, really spotty uptake in New Zealand and Australia. There is definitely a little network of people down here running AI businesses and talking about it, but for the
Hmm.
majority of people, it is not prevalent down here at all.
Hmm.
The countries that we're looking at are Southeast Asia, where they are investing, is it 1 billion or 1 trillion? It's a massive sum the government is investing into AI education particularly in
Mhm.
Thailand, but that's the whole Eastern Economic Corridor across that region. They're investing hugely in AI education. So we are opening up part of our business in there, which will be AI education focused. They are desperate for AI talent to go over there. Middle East, we've got a lot of interest in the whole African continent region, Middle East, the Dubai, the Kuwait. All of these emerging regions are crying out for like the access. We've got lots of women in the China and Asia are like loving the magazine, would love access to what we're doing. So that's where the uptake is, and they were expanding into.
Mhm.
Lots of regions of America already saturated. We're not trying to do that. We're trying to educate the other 90% of the world
Right,
who
right.
need that access.
Yeah, and it's I was in the Middle East over the over December. I was in Oman and in Bahrain, and I grew up in Bahrain, so I have like school friends still there. So we were talking about all of the AI stuff, and they were saying that Yogesh, they kept on saying to me, Yogesh, why don't you move back to Bahrain because there's a big need here. I was like, maybe I should. The thought did cross my mind at one point.
There
You
you
know, but,
go.
it's you're right. Like there is a big demand outside the U.S. as well. But tell me, as you as so you have a great sense on the geographic side of it. But what about from a functional space? Are you seeing most of the traction right now on the technical side, or are you seeing it from an application side, like marketing and supply chain, or where are you seeing the most traction right now in terms of your work?
The demand, to be honest, is in business is look, save us time and money. So it is about the automation. It's functionally, most people want to know what is AI? How can I use it? How can it
Hmm.
save my team time? And how can I save money?
Hmm.
Those are the questions we're getting.
Hmm.
A lot of it is, oh my God, my kids are using it. I don't know anything about it. Help us. So there's the demand for the teachers and parents to work with their kids to understand it. That's huge. So that the youth are already in it, and there is not many people in the space of educating children
Hmm.
or youth to navigate it and use it safely. So early days of social media, oh, let's all jump online in this big scary pool and all meet all the trolls and all the dangerous things online, and how do we navigate it? And I see there's a few people
Hmm.
definitely doing, I think it's AI in a day, AI for a day. They're doing a program for school age, kind of navigate AI in a program. It's incredible. So in that space, there's huge need
Hmm.
for the awareness and education. Honestly, it's like 90% of the world are like, just help me get upskilled. Like, what is AI? Where do I start? What tools do I use? How much is it? Why do I need it? How does it save my business time and money? And
Yeah.
let's start there. The businesses that are already in it, they're kind of like, look, automate me something so that I can make myself more efficient and save my time. There
Yeah.
is a pocket of people talking about the governance and security and policy. So we've got some experts advising on that, so that people actually want to navigate the ethics and the security and the all of that side of things, which is great because it's an important piece
Hmm.
of this. We've got a lot of people in our community, they're the creatives. So the AI video and art is a really creative, visually stunning, fun place. That sort of mix, it's more on the branding agency and fashion kind of uptake and incorporating AI in those applications that some
Hmm.
people are doing more of the work and the interest. Um, so does it answer your question more?
Yeah,
Those
it
are the
does. Yeah, you actually got me thinking about a few things actually as you were answering that,
Mhm.
because I even in the US, I see exactly the same thing, which is a lot of people are asking, what is AI, and just give me the basics of where do I even start, right? I can't tell you how many presentations I've done literally in the last 4 weeks related to just that one area. In fact. Um, by the time this podcast actually goes on air, we will have already launched this. But there are two, friends of mine. The three of us are actually, collaborating together to launch an, adoption of AI practice to help with exactly that point. Where we've got like these 7 points that we've identified, or seven skill set areas we've identified on what you need to know to drive AI adoption, basically, right?
Nice.
And Elizabeth and Preeti, Elizabeth works at was working at Ulta Beauty, and Preeti used to work at Google. Um, all three of us are passionate about this space, and we believe that there's an opportunity here, right? So we think that's an area to kind of like invest in. I obviously spend a lot of time, as an educator too. I teach at the University of South Carolina, and I teach a class in AI and marketing. So I see it firsthand with my MBA students right now in terms of where they are. And quite frankly, even with students, there's a huge opportunity for getting them up to speed. And the big
Mm.
one that I worry about the most, and maybe you've heard this already, but let me check with you, is that they don't know how to evaluate the output that you get out of any generative AI tool. People like you and me, we've been around the block a little bit. You're lucky. I already have gray hair. You have none, so you're good. But you know, when we see something that doesn't make sense, we can apply the sniff test and kind of like differentiate between what's real and what's hallucinating. Young people don't have that experience just yet of knowing the difference. So how do we educate them? How do we upskill them from that perspective? I personally don't know how to do it, but that's kind of like the thing that kind of like worries me the most right now. Are you seeing something similar as well, or what are you seeing?
Yes, and I'm thinking about how to answer that very quickly. So my stepkids, partners' kids, we've had discussions with them when they're coming out of university, and they said that young people need to learn how to discern truth, discern what
Yep.
they're reading. They said we're in a post-truth era. Half of Wikipedia is made up and edited by some random dude. They're like, if I can't even believe my own encyclopedia anymore, what can you believe? What can you read? If everything is just made up and biased and half of it's fake news,
Hmm.
what can you believe? So discernment will be crucial for young people, older people. Like, as a fun example, I don't know why this is relevant, that I saw a video the other day pop on my Instagram, and it was like the people going out and they're cleaning whales in the ocean, and I was like, oh, that's really great. And it got me for a second, and they're out there scrubbing the whales and washing them, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. Yeah. And I was like, hang on. No, they can't do that. What? That's not real, and that's not a thing. But it looked so real. It even got me for a second. And I just thought, wow, oh, Greenpeace is doing some great things. Oh, that's really cool. Happy whale. Yay.
I
So
know.
like,
I've seen those videos too, and I was like, "What the heck is this?"
oh, no,
So,
it's not real. But look, if it gets me, and I know what an AI video is, and that got me for a second, how are the young people and the older people going to discern? Somewhere in our education, I don't exactly know how to answer this right this second, but we will be trying to incorporate the
mhm,
sense of people discerning for themselves what they're reading, fact checking it, double checking, thinking about it, a little bit of common sense, a little bit of like critical thinking. I guess as you come into a workplace and you've got to think about your output, you go, oh, does that look good? Is the boss going to like that? Is that strategic? Is it good? Should I rewrite that? Is like a little bit of that questioning, critical thinking, going back, going, have I fact checked this? Have I Googled it? Does that seem right? No. Like you got to pause and reflect, and it's easy for even that some outputs Chat GPT gives me. And I'll be like, oh, that looks good. And I'll read it. And I'm reading it. And I'm like, no, oh, that don't, no, it looks good. At first gloss. And you're like, oh, cool. And you send that on. Oh,
yeah.
there's another story on, was it Reddit or somewhere? And they said, so the first case of someone using, shadow IT, basically just quietly using ChatGPT at work, they weren't allowed to. And they're at an agency, and the guy's like, oh, look, I don't have time. I just quickly squiz this through chat, run it all by, do the proposal for the client. He was writing something up that was going to be really long and complicated proposal for a client. And he spat it out and he put all the data in. Oh, that's great. Spat it out, sent it to the client. Everyone's impressed. We made the deadline. That's amazing. The client comes back, read it properly, outdated data. So much was wrong. The client is like, this is based on a old plan, or old proposal. They missed half of the scope. They went, this is absolutely just got totally missed the mark. Oh, it's so bad. And the guy just, and then they found out he cheated and used ChatGPT and missed half the data and just the output that he didn't check it. So even this is someone that knows what they're doing, didn't even check the output and missed something. So the implications of doing that for any, you're just like, oh God, the world is going to get wild. So how to answer, I think, is it's an education piece of teaching young people just to how to incorporate this in their life and think critically and be aware of what they're reading, knowing that it can hallucinate and make things up. And when I was doing an AI assessment, and it was like, you got to go through and read these facts and the AI's written, and it said which one is true, and you had to go and research and Google, and it said, oh, this name and this name is in this movie, and you'd be like, sure. Well, I Googled it. No, they weren't. So it's really, you have to really read and discern and Google and fact check and really make sure what you're outputting. Even the ones of us that know what we're
Yeah,
looking at and it looks really good, we've even got to go back and double check and
yeah,
think about what is coming out. So I know we've all got to navigate that together, right?
yeah. And as you're describing this, right, with the example of the agency guy as well as the whale story, it almost got me thinking that there's for somebody who's interested in doing this, here's some free advice, I guess. But um, you know, there needs to be a course, available on all these platforms, whether it's Udemy or LinkedIn or whatever, where people show, how do you distinguish between fact from fiction from large language models. And when you see hallucination, especially if you're a young person, what are the giveaway cues or clues that help you discern what's real and what's fictional, so to speak. I could see that being a course in its own right, actually.
Oh, yeah,
Whether
yeah.
it's that or images or videos, like you were giving the whale example, that's so true. Like, it got me for a second too, because there were like several of those that I saw. And I was like, is this real? Like, how does this even happen? you
That
know?
would be a very good course, and we're hoping that we can tackle that. And what happens to these young people? So a big thing that's happening in New Zealand
Mm,
at the moment is a culmination of, we're seeing that AI could replace, is it 60 or 70% of entry level jobs, and when they become
mhm.
automated, what do those people do? And
Yeah.
now the New Zealand government's just removed support for young people at the university age who are job seeking. If their parents can support them, they can no longer get funding from the government. So they're also without a job and without funding. What is going to happen to our young people who now are being replaced by AI, are also being fed misinformation, fake
Yeah.
news, fake videos? They cannot discern what's real or what's not. Now they can't even get a job, and they can't even get support to get a job. And the fact that they lose out on learning by osmosis when they're in a workplace together, where all their learning happens socially, when they're together physically, and how we're navigating that, let alone everybody's whose jobs are changing. Oh, one message I'll finish with is, I read an article on like an architectural digest talking about AI being part of their role. And they said when CAD first came along, they were worried that CAD was going to make them all irrelevant. And they said, no, CAD is not design. The human is the designer, the CAD is the tool. So AI is not going to replace the humans. The AI is a tool. And they said this is the second biggest evolution in this space in the 40 these cycles come along, and everyone's like, oh my God, I'm going to lose my job. No, we've got a new tool
Yeah.
to play with and to, how to say, augment, is it the right word, to augment their work,
Yeah.
to support them. It is not going to replace you. So we have to think about that. We have a new tool like social media come along. Oh, it can amplify my marketing. It didn't replace me. It's just another thing we had to use, but to manage.
Yeah.
But we are fundamentally the designers. We're the creators. We're the human behind the thing. It is really important people believe that, and that we read it. We're the creating. We're driving it. It's a tool, and we have to shape that tool for good
Yeah.
and to use it. That it fundamentally, I think that's a, yeah.
Well, it's funny you say that, because on May 27th, I posted my newsletter. It was titled basically, Gen AI isn't taking your job, it's changing it. Here's how to stay in the
Mm,
game. And I
mm,
posted it on LinkedIn, which is where I do all my posts for my newsletter. And I talked about it in the context of, entry level, mid career, and senior level roles, and how it's going to change for all three levels, basically. And I said in that, you know, um, for entry level people, you got to have AI fluency and know how to do prompt engineering, you're going to call it that, right? You got to know how to do editing and sense checking, which is exactly what you just talked about, right?
mm,
And then business acumen. Why are we doing this, and why? How do we make sure that it's contextualized in the right way? And then finally, I said that, to your point, it's not only an amplification in terms of your space, but it also allows you as a new person or an early in career person the ability to have a broader portfolio of work, because you don't need that many people. You just need somebody who knows how to do this across multiple spaces, right? So it's an opportunity for you to build a broader level of skill set. And then and the further up you go, the context changes in terms of your AI usage. But for an entry level person, there are lots of ways you can actually kind of like have an impact, because I do believe that some roles will go. 100% agree with that, right? But there'll be new roles that will emerge, and we haven't yet named those roles, nor have we defined the job description for it just yet. And I think that's an opportunity for companies to be thinking about on how do you want to redefine roles, or define new roles in this case, and name them in a different way, because they do deserve a different nomenclature in a way, you
Yeah,
know?
that's a yeah, absolute point. I know that I forget the number of how many new roles AI will actually create.
Hmm.
More than it will change or displace, it will create more. But like when we saw the people that made the horse saddles and wagons died out, but there was a whole new industry that created
Hmm.
car parts and luggage and things. But we changed from working 7 days to 5 days a week. It opened up an entire new industry of people that could travel and spend their money on things. And look what they open up. Look what AI is opening up that we haven't even imagined yet, that is emerging in these new
Exactly.
companies that. And we see individuals that are going to run a whole company, do the jobs of 7 people, all with AI.
Mhm.
And like you said, it hasn't even been named yet, but I'm sure these young people, they will come through and a whole new thing will emerge. And that's really beautiful. But
Yeah,
when you're in a paradigm and things are changing and something's got to crumble and something's got to build, that can be quite scary and disruptive, but it is also incredible.
absolutely, absolutely. And that's why I love how you started this whole conversation by saying we're working with the new paradigm, right? That frees you from the past, right? And that's what I'm encouraging everybody to think about. But it's so hard for people to give that up, because that's all they know. That's what they're anchoring on. One other area that I spend some time talking about is stigma, and how stigma impacts brands. Typically, you think about stigma in the context of mental health, but I'm very fascinated with that space. And I even think about how AI is getting stigmatized to a certain degree, and there are behaviors that I'm noticing already around the fact that there are people like you and me who are adopters, dare I say, even early adopters, if you want to call it that. But then there's a whole bunch of people today who are resistors and they're rejectors in a way, right? And unfortunately, within that group of people, there are people who are, actively talking about the negativities of AI without necessarily talking about the positives of AI, right?
Yeah.
And that's how the stigmatization process actually starts in a way. So, part of what I try to do, as my quote unquote academic, I'm not an academic, but let's say, as part of my faculty work, is I try to take a balanced approach to talk about certain things, whether it's synthetic data or digital twins or, large language models or whatever, to at least help people understand the difference between what's possible and doable and where the limits are. Limits are there. Every tool has limits. We all acknowledge that, but let's not make the limits the be all and end all at the end of the day. And that's where the rejectors are coming in and talking about that, unfortunately, right? So I think part of this is to make sure that, to your point, focus on the positive, focus on the responsible part of it, but there also has to be that talk track, if you want to call it that, around, countering the negative,
Yeah.
messaging that's also happening there. Basically, some of it's legitimate. I'll admit that, but not everything is legitimate half the time as well.
That's right. That's right.
So, but
True. Yeah.
so I had a few more questions for you. So as you're going through this process, as you're doing all this, if a young woman is listening to us right now talking, they're hearing me talk and they're hearing you inspire. What would be your message to them? Just in a couple of words, what would you say is like the big message you'd give to any young woman who's listening to our podcast today?
The one it would be is what I posted on LinkedIn this week, honestly, and thinking about the one takeaway I have for everyone is don't wait until you think you're ready or until things are more evolved or until you have to watch what other people do. Put your voice in now.
Mhm.
Every voice that uses an AI tool and can help shape it for the future. and help undo the bias. So step forward, be part of it. You don't have time to wait. By the time you wait, AI will have rocket speed ahead so far, you won't be catching up. So get on it now. Just don't be an ostrich or sit around and wait or think it's irrelevant or it's a craze or fad, or let the AI people worry about it. Like, it's going to be a fundamental part of our lives. So incorporate it now, be part of it. Don't be scared. I want people to access it and be aware without the fear, and to navigate it safely and to use it wisely. So I want everyone's voice to be heard, and just get in it and know how to use it and be aware now.
Amazing. So, are there like two or three areas that you're seeing right now, which are like emerging spaces that young women could be paying attention to from an AI perspective?
I think a couple of ways to answer this. One, I'm seeing a lot of women see the beautiful creative side of AI, allow them to express themselves creatively in a
Mm.
new way. Young or old, some people are having a change of career, change of life. Some people are finding it as a new creative outlet to express themselves, to communicate. A major area on the top of the Harvard's top 100 use cases of AI, top one was emotional support and like emotional intelligence and basically like therapy, life coaching, emotional support, which is so underserved by the amount of professionals that can serve people in that space and the amount of help that people need in that area. So that's the second one, that particularly a lot of females are using chat in that way. So creative, emotional support. And thirdly, just I think knowing that you can turn it into a career. You don't have to be a techie to use AI. You can educate about it broadly. You could be in ethics, you could be in creativity, you could be in any application of this, or have it incorporated into your work in some area of your life. For women particularly, I also did a blog post somewhere about the, what is it, the mental load that always falls on women, and particularly mothers, how AI can actually just help you think about things, plan things, organize things, do a daily, like I've got a whole daily, weekly plan chart based on my, what do you call it, my working style, my personality, my type. I got it just spit out a weekly plan, a diary, a blog. I do my entire family's health chart on there, medical, everything. I ask is about my daughter, what I'm going to do here, what should I do here, plan, all these thoughts. It spits that out. Someone's using it for their travel itinerary to do research. Like, do your mental load thinking and delegate that. So these are the areas for women that we're particularly loaded up on, that I'm finding that they most appreciate, where a lot of the guys are in the kind of automation space and they like the development and the tech, but the women like the creative, the ethics, the passion, the community, the kind of education, the emotion side, the mental health support. I don't know. These are a few areas where I'm seeing them resonate with, but no, the door's open. Like, we have woman coders. I'm not saying that. I'm saying absolutely any woman can code, like in a website. You can code a website in a day with an AI tool. So
Yeah.
the door is open for any woman anywhere to be part of it. But what I want them to do is say, be part of it. There is a
Mm.
stat that's only 25% of women are leaping into AI because they traditionally hold themselves back. And I don't want them to do that anymore. There is absolutely every opportunity for you to access this and do whatever you would like to in the whole world. And your only thing stopping you, probably, you can create whatever you imagine. And the door's open. So just jump in the pool.
So I should have asked this early on, and it's remiss of me for not asking this. But why are women feeling that they can't participate in this space? Like, what are the barriers that are there right now, or what are you seeing?
The first one, from my very little research on that I've seen in this area,
Mhm.
the traditional mental barrier of women to not put themselves forward if they do not feel qualified. So there's
Uh,
something like, that old saying that men will put themselves forward for a job if they're 50% qualified. A
mhm,
woman will only go for a job if she's 100% qualified.
mhm, mhm.
That innate mindset of women, not all women, but some, they were like, oh, I don't feel ready, or I don't know enough, or just watch what they're doing, I'll wait for it to evolve, or it's traditionally led in the office by the tech guys are doing the AI, and they're like, oh, okay, that's fine. We'll just see what they do. And maybe that's a space they haven't traditionally played in or are too familiar with. So I don't know. This doesn't apply to everyone. Obviously, there's some incredible women in AI doing like deep tech, real cool stuff. So I'm just saying maybe for some, they're also busy. Like I'm a mother, so I'll say I don't always have time every day to play with all the
Hmm.
AI tools and be abreast of everything that's happening. But
Hmm.
I do it because I'm living and breathing it for my business. If I was not, I probably would not be as across it because I'm running around after a toddler. So I spoke to some other woman founders, and they said, like, when I go to a meeting and the men are on the golf course or in the lounge talking business, talking AI, making deals, and the women were in the lounge with babies running around. That might sound traditionalist, but that's what women are seeing in meetings. It's anecdotal experience where women are busy, we are juggling motherhood, or we're juggling businesses, or roles, or work, and we're trying to do AI. So I want women to try and say how even a time-strapped person like me with a toddler still makes time to educate
Hmm.
myself and access the AI playing field. And it can be fun and it can be easy. And I don't know where we're going with that was your question. So
Yeah.
it's not systemic, it's a mindset, it's a thing that we're grappling with that I talked to a psychologist the other day about, and it's just
Yeah.
each woman has to just decide to put herself forward.
Yeah. No, I think you hit the nail on the head, right? Yeah, I think, around the fact that, like, I see this to a certain degree as well. Like, there's a hesitancy, there's a fear factor. I'm not a technical person. I don't know how to do this, or I need to know how to do this 100% to, I don't want to stereotype, but, like, I need to know it completely before I start something. All that stuff, comes in the way. And quite frankly, I see this with men as well, to be honest with you, so, it's interesting to see how these barriers are coming in the way. The other one I would say is I don't have time, which comes up all the time actually. So, but all these things should not be the barrier at the end of the day, is what I'm hearing you say, basically. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
we're coming to the end. So I want to just ask one last question to you, which is, as you look at the future, right, with AI being part of the future, you talked a lot about inclusivity, so that's obviously a big deal in terms of where your headspace is at. I totally get that. But for you, what would success look like, say, 1 year, 3 years, 5 years down the road?
You're asking me to dream big and say how big things
Yeah.
would get. You mean success for us or success for the world or generally?
You can choose any of the three, and you can answer any of whatever you want to answer.
I have very high expectations and big dreams. So success for me would look like when we're at a level of the empire of a female quotient network of expert speakers making an impact globally. When we're at the level of a Gary Vaynerchuk enterprise empire on across multiple business arms making an impact globally. When we're redefining things like Apple or Virgin did back in the day, when we've got reach maybe 1 billion people around the world to educate them on AI. They seem like ridiculously audacious, and someone's like, "Well, start with the first 100 people, start with the first 1 million people." Yes, but we already know that in the emerging markets that we're talking to, there's literally, like, we know that there's a market of 20 million women that desperately just want to jump on AI right now. So
Mhm.
total accessible market, billions of people worldwide that are crying out for access to AI education and awareness. So let's start with the first million, first billion people that still need to get across this AI paradigm and what it means for the future. So
Okay.
we are a global ecosystem, and I can only say it's going to grow and grow and grow and make an impact globally. And how big that gets, nobody will know. Did that right? Yeah.
Okay. Great. Well, listen, Amanda, this was fantastic. Thank you so much for making time, with me today to talk about, your vision and where things are going with She is AI. I love this conversation. It got me so inspired today. I'm guessing people can reach out to you on LinkedIn, or what's the best way to support you at the end of the day? I guess is a more important question.
Yeah, thank you. The sheisai.ai, our website for our business, is the first port of call, and you can find all our socials and information on there. People can follow me individually at Amanda Jeffs on LinkedIn,
Mhm.
Amanda Jeffs NZ on Instagram, Amanda Jeffs on Facebook, pretty much everywhere on Amanda Jeffs. So find me on social media, Google. We've got a community on school. Just look up Shares AI on school if you want to join our community. We're welcoming brand ambassadors. We're welcoming partners, sponsors, investors, people that love our mission and want to be part of it and want to, yeah, join us. So chat, social media, connect with me, absolutely. I do consulting and mentoring and we're opening up new offers that are going to market soon. So really excited to hear from anybody who wants to connect. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, again, thank you so much for being here. Definitely, support Amanda Jeffs and her business. She is AI. It's an incredible, value prop and a great purpose and mission for the company. When I heard about it, immediately I knew this was a place to, she was somebody I wanted to talk to. So here we are. Thank you again for your time, and we will connect very soon again. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. Thank you.